I wanna dedicate this to Refuah Shlema of our dear friend Daniel Ben Esther. He had surgery, Daniel, the doctor. He had surgery, so I hope he'll do. Yeah, hope he'll do just fine. So you saw me beeping you. All right. So this week's Parashat Vayishlach. Let's see if we could get something going. I think one of the things that really stands up in this week's parasha is really the fear of Yaakov. Yaakov seems to be very fearful. Whether it's his actions at night when he's fighting with the malach, he's struggling with the malach and this whole entire thing. Sometimes the night, the darkness, we could also look at as maybe, this is all, of course, we're using what I'm going to say here has a lot of metaphors to really try to learn something about ourselves. It's not only just about parasha, but ourselves as it reflects from the parasha. So that night sometimes represent a certain psychological, spiritual state of like being down. At night, you're struggling. So we know the story of Yaakov and the Malach and the fighting, but let's see what we can learn further than that, from that. He feels the internal darkness that is in him, and he kind of asks himself, is this history repeating itself? Is it something that is going to happen to me all the time? Is this my history? Can my situation ever change? Or I'm trapped in this system of this condition that I can't seem to break away from. This ongoing relationship of running and fear and hatred and fear and running, and it is on and on and on. And Yaakov Avinu all of a sudden said, wait a minute, what's going on here? That fear is real fear. The pasuk even says, Yaakov Vayitzar lo. He was petrified. Yirah, he was petrified. Vayitzar lo. He felt very pressed by it, stressed by it. Tsar is narrow. He felt inside like Elo Chavat Adat. He's trapped. Terrible. And he was. That's it. I mean, it's not a comfortable situation. And of course, I mean, you have to think about this is the story of Yaakov Avinu's life. This is the story of Yaakov Avinu's life. That story begins with his running away from his brother once he decided to, which is basically the first decision that he's doing in the independence of his life is to run away, to accept, to listen to his mother Rivka. She tells him, go change the bracha, take the bracha, steal the bracha, whatever you want to do it, whatever you want to call it. And he makes a decision, okay, I'm going to listen to her from that point on. It's the same story all over again. And this decision follows him throughout his life. Follows him throughout his whole entire adult life. That running away, that trying to avoid confrontation. You even see that, how much he's trying, he feels uncomfortable about situation, about confrontation, about not dealing with things so much. Even when he confronts Shimon and Levi in their actions when they took for the violation of their sister Dinah, and you see that the Shimon and Levi, they answer him back, and he really doesn't say anything after that because he hears their point. Treat her in such a way, and Yaakov doesn't say anything after that. He's not dealing with things. And it's something you have to remember and make a mental note for that. I even put it for me here in parentheses. That whatever you're trying to run away from the most is what stays with you the most. Trying to run away from something, it's going to be like a shadow. It's going to follow you all the time. Remember, I told you, I had guys that, that wanted to go to Israel to move to Eretz Israel because their situation here was, I can't deal with this and I can't deal with that. And I said to them, listen, unless you're going to solve your problems here, it's going to follow you over there because all you do is you haven't changed anything. You just changed your location. But you carry your problems with you. Let's analyze what the problems are and maybe we could deal with it because otherwise you're going to create the same thing over there. And it kind of follows you. And this is mainly because since that's something you ran away from, all your actions are going to be generated and derived from the either thing that you're running away from or from the actual escape that you're trying to escape from it all your life. So it's always going to be so-called in front of you, which is kind of pathetic because you can never run away from it. It's always going to be there. That step really shapes Yaakov's life. That step of running away and escaping and really shapes his life. And we'll see at the end if he does anything about it or not. From that point on, that he decided to listen to his mother and to take the bracha, and he's running basically, and that was in a way a reactive action because he was about to do it, so he reacted in such a way, he counterattacked that. From that point on, the life of Yaakov Avinu are always either on a pause or they are in a constant chase, and he has to wait for something. He's running away from his brother. He goes to Shem Va'ever. Okay, so he sits down for 14 years, learning Torah, runs away to Lavan, his uncle. You have to wait 7 years. Then he has to wait another 7 years. It's always waiting. Always his life. It's like a person cannot get a jump start on his life. He's always like, every quarter of a block he needs somebody to come and give him a boost. So it seems. He can't get a flow in his life. It's like everything like, and believe me, it takes a toll on a human being beyond belief. It could destroy a person, this kind of a lifestyle. It will destroy you. And after he works for Lavan, he finally said, you know what? That's it. I came here with only the shirt on my back, and Baruch Hashem, I got wives, I got 11 kids, I got plenty of cattle and camels and the whole entire thing. That's fine. And I can probably do it on my own. I can stand on my own 2 feet. So what does he do? Instead of going to Lavan and said to him, Yo, Pops, dear Lavan, my father-in-law, my uncle. Listen, I worked for you for so many years. Thank you very much for everything you have done for me, but it's time for me to go back home. Now, we don't know if Lavan would have let him go, but still, we're not concentrating on Lavan right now. We're concentrating on Yaakov. So instead of doing that, what does he do again? Story of his life. He runs again. Yaakov runs again. And so finally he's running and he's running and he's running. He has a whole convoy with him. The top of the line 4x4, camels, they have 4x4, they're going track cars, with all the entourage on cattle. And he's running again, he's running. What happens? Esav comes. Whoop! What I ran for, all of a sudden he comes. And the Zohar, as we read this morning, says the following. The Malachim, the angels call him. It says, Esav el achicha, or your brother Esav. What do you mean your brother Esav? How many brothers, the Zohar has? How many brothers did Yaakov have? He had 50 brothers, he had only one brother. So why do you say to your brother Esav? To tell him that your brother is still the same Esav that you had before. He did not change. He's the same knucklehead that was before. He ran away for 20-something years. He was away for, I don't know how many years. A whole bunch of years he was there. I mean, if you, not only the 7 years that he worked for the two sisters, or 14 years there, but plus the 28 years that he was by 14 years that he was by Shem and Ever, and that's a whole, and it's the same thing. I thought, maybe time will do its own, and he would change a little bit. No, niet, no, nada. The same Esav. Where is he? Coming to him. How is he coming to him? With 400 people to do what? To beat, to kill. He's petrified. Now, it's not only him. Yaakov Avinu said, listen, if it was only me, it's only me. No, I run. But I have, of course, cattle, and I have this, and I have that, and I have a wives, and I have kids, and I have people, and they're gonna butcher them all. And we'll see, we'll get to the present. So I'm looking at the time. Well, what's going on here? It's a terrible thing. And the question should be asked. Well, it doesn't look, the Torah doesn't paint Yaakov, if you look at it, doesn't really paint Yaakov in such a positive light. He makes like the guy, Chas v'Shalom, is not the bravest of all people. And it doesn't, paint him a little positive. Why is the Torah doing that? Why is the Torah telling us, quote unquote, and we'll see at the end if it's really true, the weaknesses of Yaakov? I'm telling you, he rolled stones, he did this, he's a big guy, he did well for himself, look at this, everybody should have a little picture of Yaakov, like, look what he did, terrific, he did, he worked, he went to college, he went to yeshiva, he went to work, he did something with himself. The Torah is telling us all those things. Why is the Torah telling us that? Because in a certain essence, each and every one of us could identify himself in that story and could associate himself with the story, with Yaakov. Each and every one of us have the situations in which we escape from, that we run away from. Each and every one of us have those little crooks like Lavan who cheat us. Each and every one of us has this little Yaakov in us, that regardless of all these years that we try to deny or run away or escape, and the hardship that life has thrown into us, and yes, you're young, but believe me, I've been there. And regardless of everything, every single time, that Esav, that thing that you ran away from, is right there in front of you, coming to you now, head and head into a collision. Every time. Let's look at those images of Yaakov and Esav, more of like a metaphor of situation, of conditions that happen to us. Esav, let's say this case, would not necessarily be a human Esav. Esav in this case is a situation that we come into, that trigger of anxiety that comes into us, and we say, oh my goodness, oh my Lord, here's the wave of anxiety coming, and it's going to swallow me up. And regardless of what I did, I'm going to be consumed by this wave, by this Esav who's coming, and it's not coming, it's coming to take everything in which I have achieved. I worked so hard, I ran away, I changed the place, I went to a different country, I did all this thing, I married 2 sisters, I have 11 kids, and it's always this thing right in front of me. Each and every one of us have this Esav inside. And then we realize that regardless all the effort and all the time that had passed, we still remain with our fears, we still remain with our insecurities, and what do we do now? The reason why the Torah had painted that, because the Torah in such a way, Yaakov in such a way, because there is a great lesson for us to do. And that's the turning point in Yaakov's life. Yaakov decides to take an initiative in his life and meet Esav head to head. I'm going to meet him. There's nothing I can do. There's no way for me to run anymore because I have the Gigar Sahaduta, that Galed, that I had with my great father-in-law, not to go back there and he's not going to come to me, so that I can't go there, and Esav is coming to me, so basically guess what? I guess I got to deal with it. That is an unbelievable idea, and that is something to remember. And again, engrave it into your conscience, and remember the following, that the true hero, or a true hero, is the one that what? That not that he has no fears, who is not afraid of anything. On the contrary, a true hero is the one who has the fears and faces them and does something about them, who is willing to deal with it. Okay? I have a fear. I'm afraid of that. All right, let me see what I can do about it. Almost like a behavioral therapy here. A cognitive behavioral therapy. A person has a phobia for mice, and he would scream. You give him a little furry, fuzzy little mouse, and we have to work with him. Or he's afraid to go into public places, and okay, you know what, you can't stay locked up in your house all the time, so let's work on it. And he's doing that. Yaakov is doing that. And Yaakov, on top of all, also does it in a very wise way. Yaakov is afraid of a war. Yaakov doesn't want to have war. Yaakov doesn't want to fight. First of all, he's not in a situation to fight. He has kids. He doesn't have ninjas working for him. He has kids, shepherds, camels, women. He can't afford a war. Yaakov was a tough guy. Don't think Yaakov was a tough guy. But war right now will take his toll, and in war, Rabotai, everybody loses. Everybody loses in a war. And Yaakov is trying to teach us something else. Reach out for peace. That's the derech of Torah. When the Torah tells us, if you're going to put a siege on a city, first of all, the first thing that you do is call for peace. Don't just go and bombard the place and kill it. Reach out for them. Reach out for peace. Killing is not something that the Torah promotes. War is not something that the Torah promotes. So as such, he's trying to accommodate him. He's not trying. Yaakov Avinu, and sometimes, we all have to say, we look, wow, Yaakov Avinu is a real chicken here. He's trying to bribe Esav, send him gifts, one after the other. No. He's doing something very brave. He's dealing with his fear. Slowly, in a very wise way. Sends him camels, donkeys, sheep. Slowly. And yet, on top of that, what else he does? He splits the camp. Yaakov is a big architect of survival, of military maneuver. He splits his forces. If this one will get hit, this one would survive. And this side will get hit, the other one will make it. Because that's what you need to do. So give Yaakov Avinu the credit. And he's doing it in a very, very smart and sophisticated way. And the truth of the matter is that he doesn't kill him. And there is no war. And he became victorious. Yes, we would like to have the Hollywood production of Yaakov taking his sword and they're doing a duel over there, like try a dragon, a flying dragon sitting tiger like this, and with the cables and the flying and the sparks are flying and shooting and rolling, and Yaakov Avinu doesn't do that. That is a true hero. That's a true fighter. A true martial artist is the one who is able to work his way out without hurting anybody. The best battle is that a battle of a fight, but the greatest victory in a battle is the battle that was never fought. Able to overcome it like this. That shows greatness of a person. But there's more than that. And there's another point that we need to bring up. And that's something that Yaakov brought with him beforehand. And you see how Yaakov dealt with that. Yaakov kept his mouth shut all the time. Never said a word to anybody. He was even when Lavan cheated him, treated him like a slave, he threw them in the worst working condition. He didn't call the union. He didn't do anything. He just kept his mouth shut. And all of a sudden, when Lavan chases after him, what happens? He doesn't say a word. Only when they went and they looked for Rachel's stuff and they didn't find anything, only then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, pay attention to the words of last week's Parsha. He explodes and he becomes very harsh. And what do you learn from that? You learn from that something very simple. Many times we have complaints against a person. So instead of addressing them immediately on a one-on-one basis, we leave it alone. We never clear the air immediately, so you won't become into a big thing. And we leave it. And then one time you explode in a most destructive way in front of a whole entire city, and you embarrass everybody. The guy says, "What in the world do you want from me?" In this case, that's what happened in Lavan. Yaakov Avinu learns. Yaakov Avinu even goes to his son and says, "Take my bracha. Take it. I'll give it to you. Take it. I'll give it to you." He talks to him. He initiates a conversation. He tries not only to prevent him from killing them, he's trying to clear the air. And it's amazing how Esav, I know what the Midrash says, but how Esav responds to him. He says, "Thank you. I have enough." I know the Midrash says he tried to bite him, this, but look at the words, the simple words. "I have enough, thank you very much." You would expect him to slap him or to say something. Why? Because Yaakov took the initiative and cleared the air before that. That is a tremendous lesson, this week's parasha, in human interaction. But there is just one more thing that stands out in this week's parasha. It shows us the greatness of Yaakov. Yaakov understands when we have the story when Yaakov goes and collects the little, he's going there at night to collect. We started with a malach, but before that, he goes to collect the little tin containers that were left behind. I mean, he has a whole entourage of things. And he realized he left some cans in the back, and he goes to get them back. To the point that even the Gemara says that Mamunam shel tzadikim, the monetary position of the righteous men, chaviv aleim yoter megufam, is more precious in their eyes than their own body. What does that mean? What is it? It means that tzaddikim, righteous people, are cheap. It means Yaakov Avinu was cheap, like one of those people who go, and recycle day, and they go to the garbage and collect cans like this. He went back to do recycling cans. What kind of a thing is that? What is this thing? So the Ari has a very interesting concept about it. The Ari says that a tzaddik realizes that everything that you have, everything that you own, maybe one time Be'ezrat Hashem will expand on that, but everything that you own has a spark of your soul in it, and it was through you acquiring it, you actually, and you do the mitzvot, you do the brachot, you fix that. When you go to the store, you might see 10 jackets, but you just dafka want that one. If they're all the same, you just want this one. Well, take this one. No, I want this one. Why is that? I don't know, I want this one. And you end up taking it. But that's what the Ari says. He went to take back the nitzatzot, the holy spark that he left before. But there's something else on it, or something else to that. Yaakov Avinu realizes that everything that he has, and it's something to remember, everything that he has, he got on a loan. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had allowed him to use, and it's on a loan. And it's not yours. It is really God's. And He is giving it to you for you to use. And do not forget it's not yours. Since it's not yours, Yaakov Avinu said, this is not mine, it was given to me. I cannot treat it in a disrespectful way and put it behind me as I don't care. I just can't do that. And he needs to go back to retrieve something because he realized that everything is from Hashem. And he raises himself to such a level that he's offering to give it to Esav. If this will help Esav become a better person, so I'll give it to him. I'll give him my bracha. I give him what I have. Why? Because ultimately it's not mine. It's Hashem's. And I realize that he realizes that everything will come to an end, including his body. But one thing does not come to an end. And that's Hashem's giving. He always gives. And this is something great that he realizes. And that's why he goes, another reason why he goes back and retrieves the small canisters, or small cans, or tin cans that he had left behind. In other words, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you, not only you have to be thankful, not only you have to appreciate it, you have to be very careful with how you use it. You cannot be negligent of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you. If God has given you something, you need to take care of it, because you know what? It's not yours, regardless of the fact that you worked. You say, but 1 second, I worked hard for it. Yes, you're right. You worked hard for it. I made money to buy it. You're right, you made money to buy it. But who created the opportunity for you? You work because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted you to work. There are plenty of people who don't have a job, and you are the lucky one to have one. You should treat it with so much more respect. Whatever you're able to buy, whatever you're able to do, whatever God has given you. And this is a tremendous lesson. We just tend to, because we are we are involved in a consumer society. And along the line in this consuming society or consumers society, somehow along the line we throw God away out of the picture slowly. One way to throw God out of the picture is by creating an illusion of abundance, that you have abundance on your own, that you are capable, and so on and so forth. But you don't even fool yourself. It all comes from Him. God is the one who is giving you all these things. Because in a split of a second, it goes out. And so therefore you take something and you throw it away. This is the greatest realization when we realize when a person died, or Chas v'Shalom, somebody lost something great. Hashem natan, Hashem lakach, Hashem mevorach. Hashem gave and Hashem took. May Hashem's name be blessed. And Yaakov Avinu understands that. And Yaakov Avinu wants to give Esav his bracha. Because you know why? Because what he got, he realizes, because he created his own bracha from this point on. A person through his efforts creates his bracha. A person through his efforts creates an opportunity for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to actually help him. But you need to understand that that's the only thing that is about your abilities. To want to let God help you. All the rest is not yours. This is the concept behind tzedakah. You give somebody, well, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you this dollar or this quarter. He gave it to you. So give it to Him. You're becoming the messenger. It's a great concept. And this is why Yaakov Avinu, becoming so complete, so becoming able to deal with his problems, to deal with his fears, through the darkness of his soul that he is right now in, through his great fear that he might be consumed by his brother, he's able to stand up and think about it and not to run away from it, because he realized you're running away, but you can't run away from yourself. Oh, Malik. In other words, you have something, you have to stop, and you have to deal with it. Because that's the only way to deal with things. And we all have fears, and we all are fearful. But we should be heroes also, to be able to stand, to stop, to aim, to put the bullet in the chamber, and shoot our fear right between the eyes. That's what Yaakov Avinu did. He says, no more running away. No more running away. Esav is coming, I'm going to deal with him. I'm going to call the shots. I'm going to control his behavior according to my terms. It's not going to be any more the same old story. You know what? Enough is enough. So if you're ever going to come to reach to the point you're going to say, well, I am too old to change my ways now. I've been living with this fear for so long in my life, for 40 years, for 50 years, for 60 years. Learn from Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu wasn't a kid anymore. He was an older man. And you know what? It's never too late to identify your fear and to decide to do something about it. This is how you create your bracha. Because why? When you realize that your fear has nothing to do with anything, Gam ki elech begetz al mavet lo yirara. I have nothing to be afraid of. Why? Ki atay imadi, because Hashem is with you. Once you realize that Hashem is with you, there's nothing to be afraid of. So deal with whatever comes your way, one way or another. Try to always do it in a peaceful way. Try to always do it in an encouraging way. Try to always do it in a smart way. Sometimes you will have to fight. But always acknowledge it, deal with it, and create your own bracha. This is the lesson from this week's parasha, the way I learned it. That's the lesson that I got from this week's parasha. Good?